Lovely good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Meghna Kaushik, and it is my absolute privilege and honor to be among such an esteemed guest this evening. Well, a very, very lovely welcome to the second edition of the prestigious Deloitte's Best Managed Companies Awards 2022 in India after its very, very successful launch last year. Well, this particular edition is even more special as last year we had a virtual launch, but this year we're all together under one roof to award, applaud, and celebrate our prestigious award winners this evening. Well, through this special evening, you will hear from Deloitte's leaders, from a very special chief guest who's here joining our celebrations this evening, and of course, our award ceremony that we're all waiting for. But first, to set the tone of this evening, and of course to tell you a little more about Best Managed Companies program, please help me invite on stage Mr. K.R. Shekhar, partner Deloitte India, to raise the curtain on today's scintillating evening. Let's put our hands together and give him a very warm welcome. How are you, sir?
A very, very warm welcome to every one of you. Good evening to everybody. Thanks to every one of you who is present here and for people who are joined through virtually. It's a great evening today where we are celebrating the winners of the Best Managed Company of second edition. Best Managed Company is a global program. It's a very unique program of Deloitte, where it is done in more than 35 countries, and we have the community of more than 1,200 winners. Thanks to the global leadership and India leadership led by Venkat, this has been successful in India the last year. Despite the COVID, the Best Managed Company was very successful, and this year too, we had a very great participation from every one of the companies, and thanks for every one of you who have participated in this. And this is a most transparent program by which the companies were selected by eminent jury who are sitting in the first row through a very transparent process. And this process is set Deloitte by Deloitte globally. And thanks to every one of you for being here. And we have set a great trend by winning against the tide as Best Managed Company winners. Thank you so much for being here. And let's celebrate your success today. And we are here to celebrate your success. And all the best for every one of you. And once again, thank you for being here. Back to Megha.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, that was a very, very short and a warm welcome to all our guests this evening. Well, taking this evening forward, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and now help me welcome Mr. N. Venkatram, CEO, Deloitte India, to kindly come up and share a few words.
Thank you. I didn't know I had to balance cards in this on one hand. You see, the trouble that I had was, when you have Shekhar speaking, you got to tell him to be brief, because we all want to celebrate here. So I told Shekhar, you can't take more than 2 minutes. So he said, boss, then I give you 2 minutes as well. And I'm normally a guy who speaks for an hour. So, contrary to what I normally do, I have cards here so that I, just stick to the 3 pages that I have here. Well, a very, very warm welcome. It's a real pleasure to me to welcome all of you leaders here to the second edition, as Shekhar calls it, of the awards. Our awards process, I believe, is wonderful because of the feedback that we get from you. I think that each one of you this year and the previous year has come back and personally told me about how they very much enjoyed the process. Special thanks to the jury for all that you do there as well, sirs. A very warm welcome to you, Puneet, to join us here today. Not only is he our chief guest, he's just out of celebrating the fact that they won, as CEO of the iconic Taj Group of Hotels, the world's strongest hotel brand 2022. And I think one of the most important things we are all doing here today is to say that the companies that are in this room today will have to help us build the India brand, right? I mean, as we get to the 5 trillion mark, what is so important and so dear to us is that we grow in the mid-sized company, in the MSME sector as well, to support India. So now when I go to the spiel, and you just forgive me when I read a bit out of that. So I think the reason why I believe, and this is something that's close to my heart as well, is that this is the 75th year of independence, and a lot of us have gone through all the celebrations that the government has done. I mean, those of you in Davos also saw that they put the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav all over, and everyone was scratching their heads because other than us Indians, nobody really understood what we were celebrating. But 75 years of independence from the British has given us one very sweet taste in that India today being ranked as the 5th largest economy in the world ahead of the United Kingdom, I think there could be no better poetic justice than that. And so as we build to the $5 trillion economy of India, which I believe is probably 27 or 28. I mean, every year the IMF, every day the IMF keeps bringing down the growth ratings, but I think all of us in the room know that growth still exists, and we're all very positive about it. But our own surveys and our research tell us that in order to do this, and by the way, we are also advising certain states in the country in terms of how they get to their contribution to get to the 5 trillion. Fundamental is increased labor participation in the workforce, increase in per capita, the continuance by the government in infrastructure spending, and most importantly, and this is where I think companies here play a very important part, reduction in regional imbalances. We have to see how we get to the next year of cities and towns in this country and spread, particularly around manufacturing and services. I believe that it's about 25% of that growth to 5 trillion will really come from manufacturing and services. And that is the role that we have today. And we've got to leverage on the private sector and in specific the MSMEs to make this possible. When you look at the supply chains, for example, to just give you one illustration, I was just struck by a remark that I had with a CEO of a large company the other day when we were talking about the rupee depreciation and how it affects us and what it does to inflation, etc. And he made a very, very apt remark that actually stuck with me. He said that the important thing for us is to continue the indigenization of our products. This is an MD of a multinational. And he said that in order for us to serve this domestic market, we need to continue the process and journey of indigenization. Now, indigenization is almost a word that we think comes from, a long past era of 20 years ago when we talked about it. But it's so true and relevant today that when we survey multinationals overseas who want to come to India, 70% of the 1,300 companies we surveyed internationally said they want to manufacture from India. But it was not for export, as people were talking about as China plus one. They were talking more in the context of saying that they are eyeing the size of the domestic market, and they're eyeing the size of this domestic market on our journey to 5 trillion. So if we build that quality in this period to the 5 trillion, I do believe that it's going to be fantastic if the MSMEs, with the focus on innovation, on the journey of transformational growth, looking in terms of supplying to the large companies that want to indigenize, remaining competitive, and most importantly, investing in skilling people. If we are able to succeed on this, I think the stories of the mid-sized companies in India is the story that will build the 5 trillion. I say this sincerely. This is the story that we're also telling the states, where we are working with states to get to their share of the greatness. Will this be challenging? Of course. And many of the winners here today are celebrating success in challenging times. But in this challenge, it's the usual stuff, right? It's digitization, supply chains, energy transition. Many of us sitting in this room today have actually scored points because we are ahead of the others in terms of what we have done in these specific areas. And we can serve as role models in the future to the next generation of entrepreneurs or future generations of entrepreneurs. We will need many, many more of them. In this country, we sometimes tend to think only of the larger players, but we have to think of those who support those larger players. And this is the journey that we ideated and said that when Deloitte has such a good product to create the brand of the mid-sized sector, we as Indians should promote that brand in India as well, so that we have more companies that look at India for the world. So that is really what I wanted to say. And if I can digress a bit from the address, many, many years ago, I think it was about 15 years ago, similarly, when the tech had started and innovation on technology, we started a program originating in Bangalore called the Tech Fast 50 program. And I'm so proud that we recognized, I don't know, over that period, 300 to 400 companies, I guess, and 11 of which are unicorns today. And so, much success to you. I see many future billionaires in the room if you aren't a billionaire already. All the very best to the future. And most importantly, since Harish is in the room, remember, together we are all building Brand India. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that very, very insightful, welcome address to all of us. It reminded me of a saying by Confucius where he said, if you want to plan for a year, plant a seed. If you want to plan for 10 years, plant a tree. But if you want to plan for 100 years, teach the people. And that's exactly what he said about building a skilled workforce and, of course, taking the brand India onto a global stage. Well, let's take this evening forward, ladies and gentlemen. Our next speaker this evening is Mr. Atul Dhawan, Chairperson, Deloitte India, who will be sharing insights with us around building future-ready boards. I think we're all excited to hear what he has to say. A very warm welcome. How are you doing?
It's kind of uncanny, right? So from a very cheerful topic about the future and building a brand, I now come and give you a lecture on how to conduct a business. No, but that's not what I want to do. But first of all, congratulations to each one of you for what you've achieved and what you're setting out to do. And to echo Venkat's words, I mean, this is a complete nation-building, brand-building exercise that we all do. What I wanted to share with you all is, one of the core tenets of any management or any business is that how do you create governance systems that scale to the size of the business? I want you all to think about it. As your businesses scale, as our country scales, the processes and the methods that we use to run a company or a country that's of a smaller size has to be very different from what it will look like in the future for two reasons. The size and the scale itself, and of course the changing times that we have seen. And we've seen some very, very rapid changes in the last 2 years. One of the projects that we did in the last 1 year is to go back and talk to about 35 people that are independent chairs of companies, they're ex-regulators, academics, to try and understand two things, or two sets of things. One was, how did the companies cope with the pace of change and the rapidly escalating crisis that we were faced with? And how did that impact the functioning of your boards? And through that learning, we came up with what we are calling the 5 avatars of what board governance will look like going into the future. I wanted to share this with all of you because we will be releasing a report in the next in a week or 10 days' time. But I wanted to give you a preview of what the world looks like going forward. So they've given me a toy that doesn't work. Oh, it works. Sorry. But the fundamental things that we found out is that there were some emerging themes that came, and I'm not going to go into very detailed conversation on how things are born. The first and foremost thing is that the board has to start defining what the future would look like. In fact, there was a conversation I had with one of the academics who said a board should typically spend no more than 25% of their time looking at compliance and financial reporting matters, and should spend more time, almost 75% of their time, looking at the future They're driving the boards into the future, getting the boards to support the executive and align the future of your organization. Compliance in financial reporting is very critical, no question of it. But what is the future of your work? What is the future of your workforce? What is the future of your company? What is the future of your business? That goes way beyond just simple compliance and approvals. The next was, and I'm not going to take them in order here, I'm going to try and take them in levels of importance. There are certain topics that are emerging as critical areas for boards to consider as you consider your future. There is the issue of diversity. There's no question of that. And I won't spend time on that. We're all very well aware of the social responsibility that we need to carry for the diversity. There is also increasing pressure from society and our own people and talent for greater responsibility for businesses to take on for social causes. I'm sure you're finding that in your organizations. We are finding it in our organization, where the younger generation is very keen that not just them, but collectively as an organization, we play a much greater role in society and take on social responsibilities, especially given that states are failing or are unable to cope with that workload. The three critical things that they are expecting us to, boards need to even look at, these are emerging topics, is around cyber. Cyber threats have taken a life of their own. Rohit is sitting there, and Rohit and I are dealing with a situation where there's a cyber problem, and actually it's putting the fear of God into companies. Boards need to look at that and spend time on that. We put out a report 2-3 months ago that showed that if India does not address the climate issue, by 2030 or 2040, it'll cost us $30 trillion as a country. It will impact our GDP negatively by $30 trillion. However, on the flip side, if we deal with it, we will probably gain $11 trillion in the same period. So the choice is pretty stark. And it's not for governments alone to do this. It's important for each one of us to take that up. The one thing that has emerged in the last 2 years is that crisis is now a way of life on a daily basis. It is not just COVID. The world has become so brittle that crisis is becoming a normal state of affairs. So we barely were getting out of COVID. We got into geopolitical tensions, in our region, and of course the world blew up with the Russia-Ukraine war. We don't know what's coming ahead. We don't know what's lying ahead. Something or the other is beginning to go wrong every day. So companies need to react to that, and boards need to be active participants in that. The one thing that happened very significantly in most companies was the digitalization. And what the COVID period showed us, the ability to change and change rapidly is actually inherent in all of us. We reacted to those pressures, and we reacted to the requirements of the changing times with alacrity and speed. What that's going to do going forward is going to give you the learning that we can change rapidly, and hence you must change rapidly. It will become a competitive disadvantage if you don't. In all this, the business performance, compliance, and everything is something we have to carry on doing. So keep in mind that the role of the board is governance and guidance. The role of the board is not to run the company. So when I talk about all these things, and what about all the issues that I believe the board should be involved in, it's about helping, supporting the executive with your knowledge, with your experience, and helping them go out and execute their strategy. This then takes you on to what will the board look like, or what should the board look like going forward? So that's what I was mentioning early on, that there are 5 avatars that we have defined that the board should consider in the construction of their complement and the kind of people that you bring in. An overwhelming feedback that we got, even from the academics, is that you really don't need deep technical skills at the board. You need people who understand issues, understand businesses, correlate business challenges in their experience, and help guide the executive teams to move forward and implement a strategy. So if I look at these 5, it's basically the first fundamental role of the board to act as a guardian does not go away. You are the custodian of the performance, the reputation, what the company does and it stands for. As board members, you will remain the custodian. That value doesn't change. You protect the interests of the stakeholders. But you can be provocative as you help the executive develop a strategy and contribute to that. You can challenge the team. You must challenge the team on what the long-term strategy of the company would be, and then how do you periodically review the performance against that, and how do you then make the changes in course and as we move. The next one I would talk about is the culture and talent cultivator, as the third avatar I would talk about. We've heard a lot about the talent issues. We've heard a lot about the culture issues that have come to the fore. These were words, but now they become absolutely critical to address. The board must play a role to help the organization define its culture, define the talent values that they need to do, and also then help keep a check on what the company is doing and give feedback to the executive. One particular board gave me a very, very interesting insight. There's a chairman of a private promoter-driven company. He said that he expected that all his board members were fully aware of the business issues. And to the extent, this is a manufacturing company, and he went to the extent of saying, I encourage the board members to walk around not just the offices, but to walk around the plants and factories and meet workers on the shop floor and understand directly what is happening. And come and feed that back to us, give their views to us, and feed it back and tell us what we can do better. So that's a role we think is going to get pronounced as we go along. The fourth one, which I talked about in the crisis situation, understanding a crisis and how to react in a crisis, and then helping, again, the executive team to cope with that crisis and move on from there and come out of that crisis. If the challenge is there, step into the shoes of the CEO to run the organization. But that's an extreme situation. But the crisis compass is now a fundamental role of the board as we see it going forward. But most importantly, the board becomes the trust torchbearer to the external world. The world will see the board, and the executive is represented on the board. The world will always see the board as their guardians that they will look up to for ensuring the trust with society and ensuring the stakeholder interest. This is a preview of the report that we will issue very soon, but I thought it's important to share this with you because there are companies, your companies, with a track record of excellence, and this is a prescription of what you might want to look at going into the future. I'm going to stop here and hand it back to you.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for sharing those avatars with all of us. I think very engaging. I was very, very absorbed. And it really, when he spoke about change, what came into my mind is the Darwinian theory, which we're all very familiar with, where he said that the species which is most likely to survive change is not the strongest, but the one which is most adaptable to change. So, well, yes, with crisis looming large every second, as he mentioned, I think all of us need to be on our toes. And, well, with an open mind and consistency in our hard work, we will be where we are, best of the best. Well, taking this evening forward, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, the Best Managed Companies program has an almost 30-year-old global lineage and history. It's time for us to hear it from the global leaders on how this journey has unfolded over the years into becoming this marquee program that it is today. So we have two lovely video messages from our partners, Natalie Tessier, Global Leader Deloitte Private, and Peter Brown, Global Leader Best Managed Companies. Let's take a look.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Natalie Tessier, the Global Leader of Deloitte Private. I would like to congratulate all of you for being named a Best Managed Company in India, and welcome to our global community of over 1,000 Best Managed Companies. This is a community that sets the standard of excellence for private businesses around the world, and it is truly an outstanding achievement that points to your leadership and success in the market. I understand this is the first in-person celebration for Best Managed Companies in India, and I'm sure that you will enjoy the fellowship, networking opportunities, and live celebration that this evening offers. In my 36 years with Deloitte, I have especially enjoyed serving private clients who are the engine for growth in economies around the world and who make an impact in their businesses and their communities. Private enterprises also have a unique ability to pivot quickly, and this allows you to meet challenges head-on and weather any uncertainty or disruption that you may face. As we continue to globalize our Deloitte Private segment, I'm proud to say that we have now expanded the reach of our Best Managed program to over 36 countries around the world. And for nearly 30 years, the program has celebrated privately held enterprises for their ability to continuously innovate, adapt, and evolve in the pursuit of success. This cohort of honored organizations represents a group of peers who can network and learn from each other while enjoying the Global Best Managed Companies brand recognition and the opportunity to celebrate the outstanding talent and contributions of their people. And now we celebrate you, the 2022 class of Best Managed Companies in India. Once again, congratulations and welcome to our community of the best in private.
Well, good evening and congratulations to all of our winners of Best Managed Companies of India. You're joining a global community of over 1,200 companies in almost 50 countries of the most extraordinary private companies on the planet. I can tell you the bar is very high to be admitted to this club. It's a globally consistent evaluation framework that the best only can meet. So well done. Now, I can tell you as well, and I really want to say this, the quality of our Indian applicants this year was absolutely extraordinary. Particularly, I thought, because I had the opportunity to meet so many of you, I thought particularly amongst the topics that are trending amongst the very best private companies on the planet. You know, things like ESG and recognizing that actually business excellence is much more than just running an incredible business. It's also running a business that recognizes that we have other stakeholders. And I was very impressed by the dedication of the Indian teams to these concepts, to lift India to its rightful place in our world. And so I was very impressed by all of you and the companies that I met and the applications that I read. So a very sincere congratulations. Now I want you to celebrate tonight, and I want you to also celebrate in the coming days, you know, with your teams, in your businesses, with your customers, with your suppliers. You know, let's brag a little bit. that we're a best managed company of India. You really have earned it. You deserve it. So therefore as well, use that logo. Use the logo with pride. The Best Managed Companies India logo should be evident in all of your marketing material. Put it in your buildings. You know, celebrate with indeed pride for this remarkable achievement that you've accomplished. Now, lastly, what I'd like to say is I'm really sorry I couldn't be there in person. I really wanted to celebrate this year in person with our team and with you. So hopefully next year we'll be able to do that in person with me. But in the interim, just have such a wonderful night and enjoy yourselves. You absolutely deserve to celebrate and network, by the way, with each other. This is an extraordinary group of companies. You'll be quite impressed by the people that you meet.
What a lovely message. For a moment, I thought I was one of the class of the extraordinary gentlemen, best of the best. But yes, I think we should just put our hands together for all the winners. We've all worked very hard and we've been through a very rigorous process to earn our spot here tonight. So, well, yes, celebrations are definitely in order. But before that, what we have for you is a very, very exciting chat session. That's right. We're coming up is fireside chat for all of us, which would be hosted by none other than our esteemed Chief guest of this evening, Mr. Puneet Chhatwal, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, IHCL, who will be in conversation with Mr. Porus Doctor, partner Deloitte India. Well, under Mr. Chhatwal's leadership, IHCL has been on a journey of reimagination to achieve sustainable, profitable growth. He has received numerous awards globally for his tremendous career in hospitality that spans over 2 decades. And he's here with us this evening. Let's give him a big, big round of applause. And let's also welcome Mr. Porus Doctor. Together, they would be taking us through a very, very insightful topic of the journey to being the best. Over to you.
Thank you, Puneet, for being here with us today. As we are celebrating the best managed companies and the winners tonight, I'd like your perspectives on the 4 pillars of our best managed companies program. To start with, let's talk about strategy. And how do you think best managed companies should raise the bar as far as strategy is concerned, especially given the last 2 years, the pandemic and the challenges that companies faced? How should companies be more strategic as well as agile?
Firstly, thank you for having me. Secondly, thanks to Meghna for reducing my age by 2 decades, because I've spent 4 decades in this business. It's deceptive. I think we actually coined a term during the pandemic in which we combined strategy with agility, and we called it stragility. And anything that is strategic must have an impact which is not just short-term driven, which is for me a tactic to get through an issue. So strategies have to be definitely midterm, and for companies like ours, they are very, very long term. And of course, we are being privy to all the information that we heard about the board and the governance and how dynamic the world is and how quickly it is changing. But at the same time, we also heard Nathalie say that you have to be able to innovate, adapt, and evolve. So strategy does not mean that you should not be able to innovate, tweak, and evolve with the changing times. But if your strategy is sustainable, profitable growth, then that also we heard, any kind of growth has to be driven on good, sustainable principles. Otherwise, the organization will not sustain in a longer term plan. And agility has become extremely important. If you're not agile, if you're not fast, as they say, it's not the big who will beat the small. it's the fast who'll beat the slow. So you have to be agile without taking any shortcuts. So I think that's why I think these two go hand in hand, and that's why the term strategility made definitely a lot of sense for us, especially coming from hospitality sector, which was shut down for almost 2 years. And I've very often said that, we all went to some nice management schools. We did a lot of sensitivity analysis, what happens with -10, -15, -25, but no school taught what happens with 0. So that's the situation that we were confronted with when you have a lockdown, and you have to then also make some kind of short-term strategic things. And we actually, just to share with all, we had a strategy which we called Aspiration 2022, which was supposed to end this year. We were almost 80% there pre-pandemic, and then came COVID, and there was no point trying to be aspirational, so we had to switch very quickly or with agility, and we called it like a reset 2020, 2021. And so I think all goes hand in hand, but mostly if you're not in a crisis, strategy has to be made long-term and still executed with agility.
That gives me a good segue into the next part of what we want to talk about, which is capabilities and innovation. Clearly, we are not expecting all companies to be at the top of the peak as far as innovation is concerned, but innovation is really very essential for companies, especially as those aspiring for phenomenal growth. And as Venkat was talking about, in a 5 trillion economy, I think we'll need a lot more of that.
Absolutely, and I think it's always good to give some practical, real-life examples. And as a listed company, unfortunately, for the audience, I'll use our own, because these days you never know, it's best to use your own so nobody can challenge. Middle of April, I get a call from Tata Group chairman, because we had started doing meal service in hospitals, the BMC hospitals, together with celebrity chef Sanjeev Kapoor, because it was his idea, and I got our flight kitchen opened. So we started doing these meals, which started with 300 a day and went to almost 40,000, including the migrant workers. Then it went on to other cities like Coimbatore, Bangalore, Delhi. And while we were doing these meals, maybe in some circles somebody might have mentioned, can you not get Taj food to people's homes? And that's how our home delivery platform called Cumin was born, which we worked together on a digital platform with Tata Digital. They created the app, and these were people who worked together who had never met before. As it is April, May, June, nobody could go out. 25th of May 2020 that was launched. Today it has also evolved with time, so the home delivery is there. It expanded to 20 cities. Unlike other, we don't talk about GMV. We are a profitable business from day one. Something which I don't understand. A lot of people talk about, this is our customers, this is our revenue, but nobody talks margin or profits. And with one of our brands called Ginger, the evolution happened. So at the end of this month, 10 of our Ginger properties will have a quick service restaurant, which will also be called Cumin. And in the next 2 years, maybe 100 of Ginger properties. If we get to that portfolio size of 100, we'll have 100 Cumin restaurants. So I think this is a very good example of innovation, adapting the model, because the times change. People started going back to the restaurants, so we have to shift more to the comfort food and not food from Golden Dragon or Trattoria. And evolution. I think Harish might call it brand extension, but I would just call it's just a natural progression or evolution of the brand. The same thing we did with homestays, because people were driving. Hotels were not allowed, but homes could be opened. Suddenly we have, gone to a size of 100 homestays across India. And because it's not not a feasible business model. We used a hub and spoke model. So we did homestays wherever our hotels were close by. So the hotel general manager and the hotel staff could also look after the homestay. So you kept your costs in check, and you were able to add another line of brand. And again, that has been successful and from day one profitable. These are small numbers in the scheme and scope of things, but today they are small. Let's say next 5 years they could be very large, but these are very high margin businesses in a very traditional industry where you had 15 to 25% EBITDA margin. These are north of 50%.
Looking at the third pillar, which is on culture and commitment, and the culture of your group is an aspirational culture for a lot of companies. A lot of companies would aspire to be the kind of culture that you all have created. Could you give us some thoughts, some insights into how does it take to keep that culture intact in changing times, in disruptive times? What is it that one has to do to build a sense of culture and loyalty when things are all around you are going haywire?
This is a very difficult one. In a few weeks, I would have spent 5 years in the group. I have worked across the world in good positions, in very good companies. But I have also never come across something like this. And I think it starts with the founder, if I may say so. So way back, 150 plus years ago, he said the purpose of the business is all centered around the community. The community is the purpose of the existence of the business. That was, his statement. And I think over generations, it got inculcated in everyone. And we being the oldest operating company of Tata Group, it's not Tata Steel, it's Indian Hotels with over 120 AGMs. It's passed on from generation to generation. And I definitely see a difference when I go to Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, Colaba, where people might be working in third generation, versus Taj in Santa Cruz. Both are good hotels, well run, efficient, good margins, everything is there. But the culture of the people, the sense of belonging, the Harvard case study on how the staff took the bullets when there was a terror attack. So I think this is like a lot of generations. All we can do as current management and the boards, as you said, is you have to be a good custodian, that what you took on, like in a relay race as the baton, you give it to the next person in a better thing. But it is not just Indian Hotels, it is across the group. It is very genuine. I have seen it, especially both the first and the second wave. Third wave was not so much needed. I remember being on phone calls with other group company CEOs, really headed by the chair. We always used to have an external speaker. We had all those charts where the numbers could be going and what all needs to be done, who's responsible for oxygen. I remember converting 5 of our hotels into like temporary hospital facilities. For a lot of people, a culture shock, but we did that with the President Hotel in Mumbai too. We did that with Ginger in Andheri. We did that with several properties where we thought we would run out of beds. Then there was a problem, how do you get those oxygen beds? Because hotels are not built that way. The rooms are not built that way. The size of the door is not large enough to get the hospital beds in. But somehow we tied up for cases which were not that severe, so that the severe cases could be treated in hospitals. So whether it's a Vivanta in Delhi, the Dwarka property, which tied up with a hospital in Delhi, or we tied up here with the Bombay hospital, and somehow this was managed. But it was not just the hotel. We were offering our facility, but there were many other people in the system who were working on it, whether it's getting a train to drive that oxygen cylinders from Tata Steel plant in Odisha across the country. So a lot of work was done, and it just happens. Even for me, I always have given this story actually in one or the other television interview also. I mentioned Chef Kapoor and I, we are class fellows, so we go back 41 years. And he, as I said, it was his idea. He called. He said, "Yaar, kuch karte hain." Kya karna hai? Let's start giving food. I said, "Usse kya hoga?" He said, "You will see. When we start, others will follow." And exactly that happened. As a hotel company, we started, and everyone followed. And that's why I say it was his idea. I just realized that, he understands. He's been in the country. He's good. But he could have also chosen someone else to call. So question is, why did he call me? Just because we are class fellows or friends? So that could be 50%. But 50% was a belief that they will actually go ahead and do it. And so we celebrated very recently with the Sion Hospital, with all the doctors. We did a dinner for the doctors. And then I go there, and then they say, "We want to show you something." I said, "What is it?" In 1989, 1 lakh rupees was given as a donation to start something called the Milk Bank, for babies who are born, 9 months or 15 months old. So this is something that is going on from generation to generation. And I wish I could have said that I was the one who did it, but maybe 30, 40 years later, somebody will say, this thing happened during that time. So I think it's a culture is very important. And for those who don't know, we define our culture with 3 words, and we said we'll keep it consistent across brands, and that is TAJ, which stands for trust, awareness, and joy. Trust of all our stakeholders, awareness of what's happening around us in our community, and joy means having fun, even if it means just teasing Meghna that she decreased my age by 2 decades, or, we are a 24/7 industry, 365 days, so it's like, we have to have fun. Otherwise, you can't keep your customers happy or provide that environment. And that entire culture is called that, the whole delivery is called Tajness. And we try to keep evolving that. So as we speak, the next level of, Tajness version 2.0 has been launched. And that is the bedrock. So for us on any strategy, we say the 5 core values of Tata's and trust, awareness, joy of Taj is the bedrock on which any kind of strategies are built.
And as you said, when you enjoy doing what you're doing, it's infectious. And that itself brings back the culture into play. On the final pillar, we talk about financials and governance. Atul talked about governance and the future of the boards. What, in your view, are the most important attributes best managed companies should imbibe as far as governance is concerned?
I think governance is really the best enabler. Sometimes it may seem to be like, you have to do this and you have to do that, and, all these anonymous complaint culture, which I was not used to, having lived 3 decades outside of India, was just plant things. But it gives a trend. And I think governance from all perspectives, how information is shared, how much is shared. And I think, as he rightly said, the job of the board is to be the guide and to help people understand the issues. Only in a crisis, if they have to play the role of CEO, they play the role of CEO, but not to become part of the management. I think that's a thin line. And governance, good governance has always proven to be outstanding in countries and cultures across the world. So one of the things is like building a nice cricket team. Similarly, you have to build a nice team for the board. You need to have people with different kinds of skill sets and varied backgrounds, culture, etc. So I think that is your starting point. So what is the need and who can satisfy those needs? Or what are the needs and the wants and how they can be satisfied? Then you get the right players. There will always be some who are very experienced and some who are not so experienced. So that does not matter. So I think sometimes those who are less experienced are more engaged. they want to contribute more. And the others, they just do it by experience. One sentence is enough. So I think you need also, as management, you need help in both, especially in times like we are living in. Hardly do you get rid of COVID, then comes the R's and the recession and the Russia and the rates, and God knows something keeps happening. So I think it's very important and interesting for boards to interact at a regular basis and have a complete holistic picture of the business. So sometimes you have to take time to even induct the board members, and you have to spend time and that they evolve an understanding of your business. They may be having understanding of all possible businesses, but specific core themes to your business, and then it's much easier.
One final question. We talk about best managed companies. What does it take for a company which is well managed to move the needle to becoming a best managed company?
Wow. So where would you put Deloitte? Because you can't give yourself an award, right?
We wish we could.
Okay. I think, as we have discussed on those 4 pillars, all the 4 pillars are a key. And most important pillar that is emerging is, as was mentioned by Atul, is ESG+. I think ESG+ will be a key differentiator in best managed versus well managed. Well managed could be a short-term thing, but best managed is the best in all the languages, and there is no better adjective than the best, whether it's, I think Nathalie was sounding very French, if it's le meilleur in French or das Beste in German. The best is the best and the best in class, and profitability, just profitability, and your margins and your top line is not the sole measure for best. It's how you treat your people, how you serve the communities, how you are innovative, how you stay relevant. I can keep going on with the list. There is this list of 5, 6, 7 things. If you do that well, you will be best managed, just like Deloitte is.
Thank you. And congratulations to you on being the #1 brand in the world. So,
yes, thank you.
As Indian Hotels is as well.
I think it's more important for everybody in this room and the population, all the people of India. It's the 2nd year in the row that we were able to have this world's strongest hotel brand by Brand Finance, and the 3rd year that we were #1 for 2 years and #2 in between for a year as strongest brand across all sectors, not yet as Indian Hotels with all brands, but just with the Taj. And I have a feel that all this also happened because of the way we conducted ourselves during the pandemic. So I think that's not laying off people, the new terminology we all learned, furlough the people.
Yeah.
So I think if you do good, it comes back.
Absolutely. In larger numbers, actually. Thank you very much, Puneet, for your time and for your insights. I'll hand it over back to Meghna.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that very, very insightful fireside chat. I think we were all very engaged. And of course, it was replete with not just business lessons, but a lot of life lessons for us, with, of course, a bit of humor. We all know why. All right, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. The countdown to our winners announcement has started, and we are delighted to now showcase our esteemed jury members who were with Deloitte through the journey of India's best managed companies 2022. Despite their busy schedules, our jury went that extra mile to take care of the robust judging process and bring alive the ethos of the Best Managed Companies program. They considered every minute detail to ensure that the best of the best got their due and earned their spot here tonight. Well, we'd like to begin by presenting a small token of our appreciation to our jury members. And to do the honors, please help me welcome on stage Mr. Joydeep Datta Gupta, Clients and Industries Leader and Partner, Deloitte India. A very warm welcome, sir. And let's put our hands together and welcome the jury on stage. Let's continue the applause and welcome Ms. Chetna Sinha, Mr. Harish Bijur, and Mr. Krishna Kumar Natarajan. They're here with us. Our fourth jury member, Mr. Kiran Karnik, he couldn't be here with us, but he sends us his best. And of course, congratulations to the winners. Let's have a group photograph. Thank you so much, everyone. Please do take your seats. All right, with this, we are very, very close to getting to the part where we announce the winners this evening. But first, it's time for us to unveil the trophy, which is the true mark of excellence, a prized possession that some of us will be taking home tonight. The distinction of being the best of the best. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's gear up to have a look at our trophy this evening. Does look very, very stunning and of course very coveted. I think we all want that on our mantelpiece in our office or wherever we put all our celebratories. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to get to the best part of this evening we've all been waiting for, as quite literally we are now going to announce the Best Managed Companies 2022, the companies that demonstrate what it takes to be the best and truly deserve to be in the globally coveted league of the best managed companies. So once again, I would request our chief guest to kindly join us back on stage. And may I please also request Mr. N. Venkatram and Mr. Atul Dhawan to join him to announce the winners this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have all three gentlemen and let's have a round of applause. So are we ready? Yes. Should I give out a first name? All our winners are in alphabetic order. So let me begin with our first award winner this evening. Please put your hands together for Ajanta Pharma Limited. May I please request the team member to come forward and accept the award? We also have a short video message by the top senior leadership of the company. Let's take a look at that.
We are truly delighted to receive this Best Managed Company Award. Truly value this recognition, especially coming from the Deloitte. And I want to thank Deloitte and the jury for bestowing this recognition on Ajanta Pharma. The entire journey of participating in this process has been very enriching. In a way, it kind of made us reflect on the practices we've been following to see that how we get stacked up against the best and against ourselves. So it was really an enriching experience, allowed us to reflect and probably identify some some better ways of doing what we have been doing. We've been really striving for a while, for a number of years, to really build a global pharmaceutical company having some of the best practices, efficient practices, and have some of the best and talented people, smart people managing the company. So in a way, this recognition of best managed company coming from Deloitte with such rigorous process kind of validated that we've really been able to make a progress in the right direction towards the same. I want to thank all our Ajanta employees, we call them Ajantites, more than 7,000 globally, who work tirelessly and diligently to make Ajanta what it is and to build Ajanta for tomorrow, having some of the best practices, best product. Really, the Ajanta would not have been what it is without the commitment, passion and drive of our entire Ajanta team. So thank you once again, Deloitte, for putting this recognition on Ajanta Pharma.
Congratulations. Moving on to our second winner this evening, please welcome Coromandel International Limited. May I request a team member from the company to come forward and accept the award. Let's have a look at the video message from the senior leadership of the company.
Well, the overall experience going through the BMC journey has been quite interesting. Right from the time the team in Deloitte reached out to us, they talked us through the process, how the nomination works, putting us through the experts, the lab sessions, a very structured and a professional approach overall. And it gave opportunity for us to interact with the experts globally within Deloitte and also with the local teams who were able to guide us through the entire process. And finally, the independent panelists who were there, to whom we had to present and represent Coromandel, was also equally interesting. I would say end to end, in a matter of about 6-8 weeks, this program was really well structured. Winning the Best Managed Companies Award from Deloitte is indeed an honor and privilege for Coromandel. It's sort of it's a reinforcement and a recognition of our sound corporate governance practices as well as the progressive business practices the company has been following for several decades. Thanks to the Deloitte team for having us through this process and conferring the Best Managed Company Award. Well, you know, the Best Managed Company program by Deloitte provided a very good opportunity for assessing the organizational maturity, benchmarking with global companies, and we're really glad that we've been recognized with the BMC award. And I would strongly encourage some of our peer companies to sort of participate and give their best. I wish all the companies who participate in this in future the very best, and I hope Deloitte will continue this program in the future years.
Congratulations. Moving on towards our third winner this evening. Let's give it up for Crompton Greaves Consumer Electricals Limited. May we have the team up here to receive the award, please. Congratulations. Let's have a look at the video message from our senior leadership.
We are really very happy to have been conferred this recognition of Deloitte Best Managed Companies 2022. First of all, I want to thank Deloitte and the jury for a very thorough process. I think the process itself was a big learning experience for us. The different frameworks that were used, the workshop that was conducted, where we were also told about how other companies in the world, who have been conferred this award, how they are performing, what they have been doing. I think all that was enabled us to evaluate, what we were doing well, what we were not doing so well. So over and above the fact that we were being evaluated, I think it was a great learning experience for us. So I want to thank the jury and Deloitte for that, and also for conferring this recognition on us. As most of you would know, Crompton is only a 7-year-old company. 7 years ago, this company was demerged from the erstwhile Crompton Greaves Limited. For us, this award is a third-party reinforcement, that what we have been doing and over the last 7 years is indeed the right thing, and that we are on the right track. I want to dedicate this award, to each and every employee of the company, be it a workman in the factory, a salesman in the sales field, because each of them are trying their best to take our company to the next level. I'm also very confident that with their unwavering commitment and enthusiasm, as long as we remain committed on the path that we have set for ourselves, we will be able to make a successful transformation to being a really great company. Thank you.
Congratulations. Moving on to our fourth winner this evening. Please put your hands together for this particular winner, who is a second-time winner for us. Let's give it up for Dabur India Limited. Congratulations. Let's take a look at the video message from the senior leadership of the company.
Thank you, Deloitte, and the esteemed members of the jury. All of us at Dabur feel extremely honored to receive this award of Deloitte's Best Managed Company for the second year in a row. I feel extremely humbled to accept this award on behalf of the entire Dabur family, who are the true achievers and the winners here. These are challenging times with geopolitical and inflationary pressures on the entire industry and the business. But Dabur's team resilience and commitment have helped navigate these headwinds and continue on the winning path of industry's leading performance, while transforming Dabur into a strong and a more agile enterprise. This award is a true vindication of our efforts. I once again want to thank the entire jury and Deloitte for having selected us for this award. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. With that, we move on to our fifth winner this evening. Please put your hands together for Endurance Technologies Limited. Let's have the team members come forward and accept the award. Congratulations. Let's take a look at the video message from the leadership team.
It is a matter of great pride that Endurance has been judged as one of India's best managed companies. It was a pleasure for me and our team to be a part of the 4-pillar process. This 4-pillar process brought in objectivity in the evaluation and also a reflection within Endurance. I feel we have achieved this honor by abiding by our core values of customer centricity, integrity, teamwork, transparency, and innovation. We will continue to focus on taking care of the interest of all our stakeholders, including shareholders, our vendor partners, and customers, with an increased focus on ESG as well as in technology in both our products and processes, and to ensure that we meet our strategic goals of the future. I'm extremely thankful to Deloitte for this opportunity, and I would like to thank the illustrious jury for giving us this great honor. I would like to wish you all a wonderful festival season. Thank you.
Well, big congratulations there. Moving on to our sixth winner, who's also making the cut for second time around. Please put your hands together for KEC International Limited. Have a good round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a hand together. So congratulations. Let's take a look at the video message from the senior leadership team now.
Warm greetings to everyone from KEC. It's a privilege to be recognized as one of India's best managed companies for the second time in a row. I thank the distinguished jury for recognizing our inspiring business journey, consistent pursuit of excellence, and commitment to spread happiness amongst all our stakeholders. The unique distinction is an acknowledgement of our steadfast commitment towards achieving excellence in everything we do to ensure stakeholder satisfaction, especially in the changing business environment we have all faced over the past few years. The well-crafted evaluation process spread across 4 pillars covered several critical aspects, right from strategy development to a strong focus on capability building, execution, innovation, environment, people practices, risk management, and governance, all of which give us a chance to look deeper into our own organization. Over the years, these aspects have collectively empowered us to deliver sustainable growth and outperformance, and have made KEC an inspiring and a forward-looking organization, and now a best managed company twice over. I thank the jury and the Deloitte's team of experts once again for their valuable perspectives, which has enabled us to benchmark ourselves against the best private companies spread across 35+ countries around the globe. We look forward to engaging and learning from other global best managed companies in the months to come while sharing our growth stories with them. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Moving on to our 7th winner this evening. Please put your hands together and welcome Orient Cement Limited. Can we have the team come forward to receive the award? A big round of applause. How lovely. Congratulations. On that note, let's take a look at the video message from the senior leadership team for the company.
Let me start by thanking the entire Deloitte team and the wonderful jury for all the patience with which they heard us out when we made the presentation. It's an honor to be included in the list of best managed companies that Deloitte has put together. It's, as we know, any award that we get gives us humans a huge dollop of dopamine, and dopamine is addictive. The more we get it, the more we want it. In that sense, this award, as much as it's an honor, it is also a responsibility to keep rising to the expectations that our stakeholders place on us. The more we achieve, the more recognition we get, the higher the expectations. And our task becomes that much more challenging, at the same time pleasurable, to keep performing well and to keep doing the right things that we as a company have been doing for decades now. Talking about the award, I must also acknowledge and appreciate the rigor in the process that Deloitte team deployed while selecting the companies that they finally selected. It was a pleasure to sort of really see a good, robust process in place through which we were screened. And it is very important because in the ecosystem today, we know the number of awards which are available, but this one really seems real. This one really seems well earned, well deserved by us. Thank you so much, Deloitte team, for not just the award, but also making sure that we tend to believe this is in recognition of the good work that we actually have done. We have a good story. Hopefully we told it well to the team and to the jury, and based on that, the selection gives us the most satisfaction. Thank you once again, Deloitte team. Thank you, the Best Managed Companies team within Deloitte, and like I said, the jury. I think I'll be missing a very important thing if I did not also thank my entire team who has enabled my being on the podium today with so many other worthies. I look forward to staying engaged with not just the, let's say, the people who work with us, more importantly, even with the other winners, and there will be a lot of mutual learning, a lot of mutual growth together, and I look forward to that. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Congratulations. All right, on to our second last winner this evening. Please put your hands together and welcome Wellspun India Limited. Let's have a big round of applause. Congratulations. Let's now take a look at the video message from the senior leadership of the company.
I would like to thank Deloitte for honoring us with this exemplary award. A successful organization is a result of its committed and spirited team that works together towards a common goal. And so, I would like to dedicate this award to the Team Wellspun India, who are the real champions. We strive to be inclusive, sustainable, and responsible at every step. Governance is a key component of the Wellspun ESG framework. We ensure transparency and accountability at all levels of the organization. Diversity and inclusion are also on the top of the board's agenda, and efforts are being made to improve the gender ratio at all levels of the organization. At Wellspun, around 27% of our employees are women, and we're determined to grow this further. Thank you.
All right, finally on to the last award winner of this evening. Please put your hands together and welcome the team from Zoho Corporation Private Limited. Let's have a resounding round of applause for our last winners this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Now let's take a look at the video message from the senior leadership team on your screens now. I'll request our three gentlemen to kindly stay back on stage. You are still needed,
Hello.
yes.
Namaste. I want to thank Deloitte for choosing us as a best managed company. It is an immense honor, and in a true sense, I don't personally deserve it. It is our leadership team, it is our managers, it is our employees that deserve this award. So on behalf of all of them, I accept this award in all humility. In a true sense, this award came about because we have built a company where we try to maximize the space and freedom that employees have to envision and execute on various initiatives. That's been the key to our success as a company. And it also comes from my own need to work on technical projects, technology projects that are of interest to me, and that allows me to not be a micromanager. If I didn't keep myself busy with projects of my own, then maybe I would become a micromanager, and that then people won't have the space and freedom to execute. So that's what I would take as a primary lesson, and I still keep myself busy with projects. And so that is the primary lesson for me, and I again want to thank our senior leadership, our managers, our employees for getting us this far. We still have a long way to go. As a company, we are still in the global technology leagues. We are still relatively small, and we still believe there is a very long road ahead. And I see this as an important milestone. And this process was very rigorous, and we went through a lot of questionnaires, interviews, employees, and I'm very happy to see the recognition here. I again want to thank the team at Deloitte for choosing us for this award. Thank you, and stay again.
All right, congratulations to all the winners. And it's time for us to seal this moment in time and take a group photograph. So may I please request Joydeep Datta Gupta, Mr. K.R. Shekhar, and Mr. Porus Doctor to also join us on stage along with all our award winners. Come on, let's have you guys up on stage. Please do accept and take your trophies for the group photograph. To make this group photograph a success, I would request all the ladies to be in the center somewhere and the taller gentlemen to be at the back. May I also request our jury members to kindly join us for the group photograph as well, please. Let's close in on both sides and make a small semicircle. Well, the best way to make sure that you're in the picture if you can see the camera. So from wherever that you're standing, if you can spot a camera. Oh, this is the actual shot. Come on. Let's see those pearly whites. All right, thank you so much and congratulations to all the winners this evening. Thank you to our esteemed jury members. And before we close, I would request Mr. Doctor to present a small vote of thanks.
So first and foremost, I'd like to thank each and every company that participated in this year's Best Managed Companies Program 2022. And congratulations to all our winners. You thoroughly deserved this award. To our esteemed jury members, thank you so much for your wholehearted participation, your insights, and the rigor that you put all of us through in coming up with these 9 names for the Best Managed Companies 2022. To Puneet, thank you very much for sharing your insights in that fireside chat, Puneet, and for your time today. To our global leadership for the Best Managed Companies program, as well as for Deloitte Private, as well as our India leadership, thank you for your support in making this event a great success. And finally, to the team that works tirelessly in the background, a big thank you to all of you. This would not have been possible without each and every one of you. So thank you very much. Have a great evening and join us for cocktails and dinner outside. Thank you.
Well, rightly said, the celebrations are in order. The dinner and drinks are served. Have yourselves a lovely evening. Thank you.